Good evening, everyone. My name is Wonjoon Jeong from the 3rd grade, Incheon Jinsan Science High School. Today, I'd like to talk about future technologies, how we spread our ideas. Do you know what these three maps are? I think maybe the first and the second one is quite easy. The first map is about COVID infections in South Korea, and the second map is about heavy rain a few weeks ago. The last one may be difficult. It is about a map that represents economic wealth by colors. So, these are some of the problems that we face now. COVID-19, disasters, actually due to climate change, wars, and poverty. These problems themselves are so fatal to the whole humanity, but the more bad news is that they cause isolation. They cause isolation in physical forms, psychological forms, and from facts and information, such as fake news and information inequality. Simply, we know that the solution is networking and connection, but how? One answer is the metaverse. Metaverse means virtual space itself, but nowadays it means an online space where people can socially interact. But why metaverse? In other words, how can metaverse help share our ideas? The theory is simple. Metaverse enables us to connect person and person, person and environment, spaces and spaces, avatars and avatars, and ultimately, ideas and ideas. Furthermore, the metaverse may express personal identities. We can express our identities via avatars, the actions we do, and by creating a map itself. These expressions may change participants to their ideas, perspectives, and make them do social actions such as campaigns and so on. I know that the theory itself is very boring, so let's talk about my personal experience about the metaverse. Before I experienced metaverse, I thought metaverse was a really difficult and complicated technology. And then I participated to the International Science Festival in May as an organizer. So these are the posters I've made. And as you can see, there were many live events and content that prospered the fair. Research videos and posters about sustainability. But these contents were not the biggest impression for me. It's because other contests and competitions had similar contents, such as researches and school videos and so on. Actually, my biggest impression was about passion and interaction. You see, there were students chatting to each other in Korean, English, and Chinese. Even after the live event was over, some students from Taiwan and Singapore revisited our maps and saw the contents again. Also, I felt strange because even I'm new, I'm in the metaverse, but there was more interaction than being outside. But at the same time, what I felt was vanity. Metaverse was not so complicated and difficult technology than I thought. It was more close to an easy platform to share our ideas. Before I made a map. Actually, last time, professionals made the whole map for us, but this time, the 3rd graders deemed themselves and spent a really hard time. As you see on the landing page for the whole map, the whole theme was about ecology and the environment. There were lots of interactions and contents, but what I want to talk is about a different point. It's about variety and expression. It wasn't a professional design, but there were topics and themes that they intended during making a map. There were 4 class maps and more content maps. There was a map about 4 seasons in South Korea, and there was a map about geology. And there were maps that demonstrated museums, galleries, and cafes for free discussion. Each map was different, but I saw several perspectives and their harmony about sustainability. Furthermore, some maps were about social problems, global warming in this case. The students made a map about melting glaciers and put researches about global warming. There was less profession, but more creative and meaningful ideas which gave me impression. Some professionals, mostly in educational areas, restate my lessons as meta-connectivism. It is about spreading our ideas via technology and making connection. But it is not only about metaverse, but beyond it. And there's a good explanation. The ability to find connectivity must be built in the digitally networked world and should make meaningful contributions to discover new connectivity. To restate, as you see, there are many technologies due to the fourth industrial revolution. And the technologies may vary and progress even more than now. So, what we have to do is to think beyond metaverse. We have to think about ideals and the futures and the connections that we pursue. Before the conclusion, I'll ask you about a question. Why do we conduct scientific experiments? It's because we have to prove and check a hypothesis. Likewise, the reason we use technologies for communication is that they provide opportunities for connection. In specific, what's the connection that we are willing to accomplish? It's defined as 3 categories. First, meta-connectivity means realizing that I'm the part of the society. Second, interconnectivity is about connecting network and learning. Last, transconnectivity is to separate what I experience and what I've learned. In sum, meta-connectivism is about learning and accepting values and making new meaningful connections via digital technology. But all connections require something what to connect, and technologies are just tools. The main is about possibilities inside our minds. What we need to do in this changing era is to find possibilities inside ourselves and spread to the whole society. Thank you for listening to my speech.